This is Professor DePaulo. Welcome you back to Psych 265, fully online. And today we're going to be talking about the last part of the manuscript that you're going to be writing up, and that is the title, the abstract, and the references. And the abstract is always written at the end of any manuscript. So to walk you through, let me bring you to Assignments tab. And we're going to be looking at the title, the abstract, and the references. So this is a relatively quick part of the paper to write up. The abstract can be a little tricky, but the title page and the reference page should not be a problem at all. So for the title page, basically what you want to do is you want to write in the header, the top part of the page, you want to write the words running head, and then you want to put a colon and then have a short title of your paper. That's the running head. So the running head is a short title, and it's going to look like this: running head, like running capital, H lowercase, and then the shortened version, like the first few words of your full title. So you want to write your full title first, and then shorten it to make your running head. So we're doing multitasking. So think of a title for multitasking. So I may put the role of gender. Spelled that wrong. And impulsivity on multitasking. That's not really a great title, but what you want to do is when you make up the title, you want to talk about the variables that you're studying. So we're studying multitasking, obviously that's our dependent variable, but the factors involved are gender, um, I guess you could put GPA, hours sleep. You don't want to just list them all, but you could put something along the lines of like the factors involved, factors affecting multitasking, or factors involved in multitasking. I just wrote these two. Center it, right? And at the top in your header, right, so the top part of your page, I would shorten this in all capitals, by the way. I'm going to call this the role of gender. Okay, so that's my shortened title, and that goes in my running head. You see, it's the first few words of my actual title. That's my shortened title. And then in the right-hand side, went too far. Whoops. Gonna have to space it out. On the right-hand side of the header, you're gonna write the page number. So page 1. I think it goes further. You can move it all the way over as far as you can move it. And then you want to label the pages. There's also an option in Word that lets you label the pages automatically if you want to do it that way. Let's go look at this running head, the role of gender, all caps here, running head like this. So write your title out first, and when you write your title, you want to keep it probably less than 11 words or so. And you want to basically capture all the variables you're looking at, including the independent variable and the dependent variable. But you don't want to make a list. So factors affecting multitasking in the community college setting, in the community college population, uh, it's pretty flexible as far as what you want to make the title. Don't just write multitasking as your title. That's not an effective title. You got to tell me a little bit more than just multitasking. Some students like just write multitasking. That's not the title of the paper. You got to give me something about the variables involved and their effects on multitasking. So make it a little bit more elaborate, but don't make it 20 words. Keep it like 11 words or so, or less, but definitely bigger than just multitasking. And then take the first few words and put it in the running head, like that. And this running head is going to be the short title on every other page. So in the title page is the running head. On every other page, it's going to be your short title, and it's going to be in the margin, the header as well. So Beneath that, if we go back to our reference page, you're going to have the title here, and then you're going to have your name, and then you're going to have your affiliation. So, name and affiliation, obviously, that's your name, right? So put it below it, and then put your affiliation, which is Borough of Manhattan Community College. And that's it for your title page. So, something like this. And I'm going to write out the full name of the college. There. Not hard. It takes you 5 minutes to do this. Um, Obviously, don't write my name on your title page, but write your own name, the affiliation. So title, name, affiliation, and then the running head and the page number, and you're done. So that's pretty basic. Now the abstract, I'm not going to actually write the abstract for you because that requires a lot more thought than writing out the title page. The abstract is a little bit more difficult here. It's going to be about 150 to 200 words in length. And what you want to do is you want to write basically 1 to 3 sentences for each part of the paper. So the beginning of the abstract should talk about the purpose of the research. That should be about 2 to 3 sentences. That's kind of the stuff you put in your introduction. Now, don't go into details about the literature review. We don't want that in the abstract. The abstract's about our study, the in-class multitasking study you did online. So don't reference other research in your abstract at all. So 1 or 2 sentences. What was the purpose of the study? And we talked about that in the introduction. Then follow it up by 1 or 2 sentences of the method, very briefly. Don't go into a lot of details. Talk about what was done with the methodology. You wrote that up the previous week. And then after that, 1 or 2 sentences on the findings. Do not put statistics in there. So I don't want to see numbers or statistics in the abstract. Just give me a summary in 1 to 2 sentences. What were the key findings? And then finally, 1 to 2 sentences of the conclusion of the study. And that should be about 150 words if you're writing it out, you know, pretty substantial sentences. Uh, you can make it between 150 and 200. You don't want to don't overwrite it. Make sure that it's within reason in the format that I told you about here. It's kind of tricky to write because you're condensing an entire manuscript into basically one paragraph that's 150 words. And some people are very picky. Some journals are very picky about the length of the abstract. If you go over the word count, they're going to have a problem with it. So it's really important to keep this to 150 to 200 words. I like to keep mine to 150. And the abstract's like that first thing you're going to, as a researcher, when you're looking through the literature, the abstract's the first thing you're going to look at. You're going to read that abstract. You want it to be short enough, but you also want it to be descriptive enough that a person can read it and figure out what the paper is about. And they can decide to then read your paper or not read your paper. Is it relevant or not relevant to what I'm doing? And so this is a really key part of the paper. It goes on its own page. After the title page, you're going to have, put the word, abstract, and then write your one paragraph, 150 words. And I give you an example of an abstract here, uh, which is based on the article, The Effect of Job Stress on Clinical Health Outcomes. And so this is the abstract, and then I put some, comments here to talk about how you're supposed to take the first 3 sentences, introduce the problem. Then I have another sentence here talking about the methodology. Then I talk about an analysis, or they talk about it. I'm just referencing it, right? And then um, the findings, the conclusion of the study. And that's it. So this is always written at the end of the study when you're done with everything else, except for maybe the reference page. You're going to write the abstract, but you've written all of the main text. So you wrote the introduction, the method, the results, and the discussion. Now you can go back and write your abstract. So this is a little tricky. You're going to have to spend a little time on this to make it, sound polished, but do your best. Put it in the format that I asked for, and I'll give you feedback so that you can then revise for the final paper, which is surprisingly due next week. because the semester is coming to an end. And now the reference section. So I asked you to have at least 5 references, and those were mainly for the introduction, right? So you should have at least 5 references, and they should be journal articles. You're not going to have books. Obviously, the books are not available right now because everything's being done online, unless you get the whole book online, which you could. But most of you are going to have journal articles. So here's structure for a journal article, and you can use this to write your references. So for references, you're going to just write references in the center of the page, the top of the page, center it, and then below it, you're going to write in APA style. But the easiest way to do this, and there's a shortcut to do this, is go into Google Scholar. So let's go into Google Scholar, and let's say you have your title of the article. Type the title of your article here in this Google Scholar search engine. Type the title of the article here that you want to reference. I don't have a particular title of the article, but let me just find one for the sake of it. You have the actual title of the article that you used. So let's say I wanted to use multitasking across generations. That has to do with age and multitasking, right? This is from the journal Computers in Human Development, or I don't know exactly what journal this is, but you have the whole article here, right? Computers in Human Behavior. So that's your article. Let's say you're using this article. I don't know what you're using, but whatever article you're using, you type into the search engine. Let's say this is the article I used. Okay. I want to cite this. Well, there's an easy way to do this in Google Scholar. See this little quotation marks? It says cite. Click on it, and it brings up this box, and it gives you the citation. So I want APA style because it's psychology, so we have to format in APA style. So if this is the article you used, just copy it and just dump it in. You got to make a reference page, right? References. There you go. So there's my reference page, which goes at the end, but by the way, it doesn't go after the title page. It goes at the end, but I'm just showing you. And then paste it in. Right now, it's not perfectly formatted. What you want to do here is you want to indent the second and subsequent lines of each citation. So go to the second line. Didn't want to go that way. Sometimes you have to actually copy and paste it this way. So what I'll do is I'll just cut, and I'll indent like this, and then paste, right? And then it'll let me move it over. So it's going to look like this. So the second and subsequent lines should be indented. The first line should be flush left to the margin. And you do that with everything, and double space it because it's easier to read. And then you move to the next one. You're going to put the next one down and do the same thing. You go in, you type in so let's say I'm doing multitasking and gender. Type the title of the article in there. Let's say I'm using this article here, cite. Click on APA, copy, move it in here, paste. And obviously indent the second and subsequent lines here. Just make sure there's spaces between these, double spaced. And like that. And you're done. And you just do that for your references, and your reference page is done. I mean, there's other ways to do a reference page. There's all these different softwares and programs now that you can put your references in, and it organizes everything for you. But this is pretty easy. If you just put it in Google Scholar and you hit Cite and you click APA, and then you just indent things to format it like this, and you're done. Put it in alphabetical order too. The reference page has to be in alphabetical order by author last name. And once you've done your references, you saw the title page, you saw the reference page, and the abstract is probably the only thing you got to spend time on because the other 2 sections are really basic. And in the abstract, you have to sit down and write it. It's a little tricky to write. because you're basically summarizing the whole article. So you're going to spend some time on that, but you don't really have to spend much time on the title page and the references. Um, make sure that you do this method. It's pretty easy. Um, there's nothing really to follow here. Just the reference, just the abstract that you have to put some time into, and that's pretty much it for this assignment. So this is not a difficult assignment. I showed you how to do this in screenshots here, but I'm walking you through in the video, and that's about it. So hopefully this is easy. The abstract's not going to take you that long. It's going to take you a little bit of time to write, but it's not going to take you that long. And for the rest of the week, so submit this by the end of the week, and start studying for the exam. I will post a review shortly for the exam because the exam's next week, believe it or not. And start revising the other parts of the paper. So if you've submitted all the papers on time, I've given you comments and graded them and sent them back to you uh, pretty much on time. If you started submitting things late, I will get to that as soon as I can, hopefully the next day or two. But start revising the sections that you have back and graded. So look at my comments, start revising. So do that this week, start revising, start studying. So next week, when you have to take the final exam and you have to submit the revised paper, it's not going to be that difficult to submit the revised paper. You'll have most of it done. Just put it together, put it in order: title, abstract, intro, method, the results, which I gave you. All you have to do is copy and paste it right into your document. I provided that for you. The discussion, and then the references, and you're done. So you're going to submit that whole paper as a revised paper next week. And if you've been revising, as I've been grading, this should not be a problem. The only thing you'd have to really revise is the last section, the title, abstract, and the references, because you're submitting that this week. But if you do a good job with that, there's not going to be much to revise. I will get you feedback as soon as I can once you start submitting these. And that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this helps, and I'll see you soon.